Hello, everybody. How are you guys? I'm Christine Arza, and I'm here with Destiny Granadillo.
Hi, everybody.
And we are The Chisme. In this first episode, we're going to be talking about Charles Miles Maddox, aka Charles Manson, and the start of his crimes and how he began his journey.
Okay, so Manson was born of, as you know, Charles Miles Maddox on November 12th, 1934 in Cincinnati, Ohio. So we can already figure out that all of his crimes from ages like 9 to by 15 were in Cincinnati, Ohio. He was born to Kathleen Maddox, and she gave birth to him at 16 years old. And she was an alcoholic and a prostitute. But when she married her, not anymore, husband, she was married to William Manson, and she got better. She fixed herself up a little bit, but the marriage ended very quickly, and then Charles was placed in an all-boys school at the age of 12. Soon after that, Charles was soon living on the streets, and that's how he started his crimes, like through the streets. He didn't really have a home. And after that, for the next 20 years, he spent time in and out of prison and reform schools, and his mother kind of just disappeared from there, so he didn't really have anybody to fall onto. So he thought in March 21st in 1967, he moved to San Francisco, and he continued his crimes there. So it's kind of crazy to believe that a child at 9 years old began
many crimes.
Yeah, so many crimes.
So early on in his life.
Mm-hmm. And because of his age, he wasn't really put into like juvie or prison or anything like that. And especially his mom stayed.
His mom, she should have led by example. Yeah. And he should have not followed her footsteps because of the way she was, but learned to make him to be better than her.
Exactly. And her, as let's say she was a prostitute and an alcoholic, she should have fixed herself when she was going to have a child, or she shouldn't have had one at all, because of course he's going to follow into her footsteps. And now creating what he's done and killing and murdering the amount of people that he's murdered,
and creating a murder group.
Yeah,
murder team.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to believe that someone would do that at such a young age, and especially that he was moving place to place from the ages 9 to 12. A normal child from 9 to 12 is going to school, doing what they're going to be doing. Playing sports, exactly. And in this case, his sports was to commit murder. And in his early years, he didn't have his family. He did everything himself, and it wasn't necessarily murder. He stole, he vandalized a lot of things. He didn't actually murder the amount of people he did with his family. He didn't really murder anybody at the age of 9 to 12. He was in and out of reform schools. He did go to prison, and then when he moved, he did commit some crimes alone when he was about 20 something by there. But when he figured out that he was gonna have no one to be with, obviously when you have no one, you don't really care about what you do because you don't care if you're getting locked up because you have no one waiting for you. So Charles went crazy, and he started actually committing murders by 1967 and all those times when he moved to San Francisco, and that's where he did most of his stuff. So if you think about it, it's kind of crazy that his childhood was already so rough. Usually murderers build up their stuff by 20s, teens by there, not a 9-year-old.
But in his case, he started murders throughout his childhood, which led him to be one of the biggest when he was already older.
Yeah. And he had no one to really put him in his place. Again,
because he had no parents.
Yeah, his mom's, when Kathleen gave birth, his biological father was not around. So she was with him for a little bit of time for him to start building up this bad behavior when she was an alcoholic and a prostitute. So when she got with William Manson, which was his stepdad at the time, she got better. He wasn't too better himself, but the marriage ended quickly, so they both kind of...
So
it just
Charles didn't have anyone.
He didn't have a father or a mother, so he kind of.
So basically, like if you think about it, he had to like do everything for himself. So if you think about it, he didn't really have anyone to depend on to help him. So yeah, stay tuned for episode 2. Bye guys.